I don't know what I mean.
What do you mean?
What was your first experience in a comic book store like, Steve?
Well, that was a segue.
Black is like the brightest day. Where are the heroes? Soon as they get here, everything will be alright. I need a hero. Someone superhuman who can come and save my life. Crisis after crisis.
Well, that was a segue.
Trying to think of
So
the first
natural.
comic book store out.
God is dead.
There was a place by me called New York Dugout. Paul, do you remember that? New York Dugout? It used to be, well, it was in the mall for a minute, but it used to be next to, remember Wallbaum's? Wallbaum's used to be where Hannaford's is now in Wappingers. And there was that little strip to the right of it.
Yeah. It was on the little side over
It
there.
used to be there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if it was that or if it was Dragon's Den.
You'd mean like how you felt when you walked
No,
in?
just the whole thing. Like, where was it? How did you feel? What was exciting? My first was the baseball card shop in Fishkill. Do you remember her name? Darn, I was relying on you to remember. Anthony, do you remember the name of the lady who owned the baseball card shop in Fishkill? Mary Scott.
Is it next to a deli?
Was it next to a deli? It was next to an Ames. It was out in Fishkill. Oh, was there a movie theater there once? I only remember the Ames because my mom would shop at Ames and leave me at the comic book store. I don't remember that much, but here's the thing. There was no comic book stores around me except Iron Vix 2 was in New Windsor, but I would not figure that out until later. So it was easy for my mom to go to Fishkill and be like, "Oh, I'll just go shopping with one of my friends, and you just go buy comics." So the first time I went in there, it was like small. It was like a long hallway, right? And the only comics I had collected were the issues of Man of Steel that I had bought at Lloyd's, right? And actually no, I guess the first time I was in a comic book shop, I guess I don't count it because it wasn't a local comic book shop. We drove all the way down to freaking New Jersey to Paramus, and there was a comic book store in the mall, right? And there I picked up Man of Steel #4 because I couldn't get it at Lloyd's. But like, I only remember like being in a rush, running in there with my mom, and being like, "Oh wow, this place is amazing," and my mother would be like, "Don't look at anything, just get the one comic." So like, I don't count that one. The baseball card shop I count more because Mary was very nice. I went in, I just went right to the back and I started looking at old back issues because I'm crazy. And I guess like I had already got in my mind that I wanted to read back issues because of all those 50-cent comics that had come in the mail from Mile High Comics. So my mom leaves me in there for a few minutes, and she comes back, and some guy is like, "Oh, like what are this?" She's like, "Oh, if you're a new collector, here's all this stuff on the wall." And he's like, "Well, what's back there?" She's like, "No, those are for seasoned comic book buyers." My mom was like so proud. She's like, "If my son is seasoned." It's just so cute. But that was like my first time in there, and I picked up like Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen. Then she made her shop bigger. And then I was going there for a while, and then I met this guy at the Maybrook Flea Market, and then like he was like my regular comic shop guy, and then eventually Stonehenge would open. All right, that's it. But Mary, she was great. May she rest in peace.
Yeah, I guess I remember being like, oh my God, like places like this exist. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have any like frame of reference for it. And I remember buying X-Men, like Jim Lee era X-Men comics and Mark Silvestri era Wolverine comics. And I remember buying, he had the whole set of Marvel Masterworks, the Joe Jusko ones.
No, the whole thing.
Which is like iconic to me. I remember distinctly buying, my mother buying me that. Yeah, it was New York Dugout. I'm pretty sure. And then Dragon's Den shortly after, when Dragon's Den was like a real store.
Joe, you remember yours?
Yonkers one, right?
That one, but no, the one up here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to go to the Yonkers one. My first comic shop was in the Bronx. Cosmos, Cards and Comics. And yeah, in Westchester Square. He was awesome. My father used to fix cars, and he fixed his car, and he said, bring your sons one day, and that's when we got there, and it was just like, oh my God. It was the smallest store ever. The smallest store. It was a closet. But we somehow found a way to run up and down the store, look at all the books and go nuts. And he treated me really well there. He actually, for my birthday, he gave me a Spawn #1 signed by McFarlane.
Really?
Yeah.
Still got that?
Yep. That's
Nice.
one of the only books that survived my house fire. And no, it's cool. Don't worry about it. I lost everything. It's not a big deal. No, but yeah, I will always remember that place. The smell, the giant floating. Well, not floating, but it was an inflatable Wolverine
Mm.
that was hanging from the wall.
Mm.
That was a cool place. I love that guy. I hope he's doing well, or if he's gone, I hope he's doing well up there. So, yeah.
You wanna do me? Well, not do me, but you know how Cliff is. Jeez.
No, I only want Joey to do me. Don't worry.
Yeah.
How you, Sam?
Um,
First comic shop.
my first memories are Stonehenge of a real comic book shop. It was in Newburgh.
Huh.
I remember walking in. Well, I remember it because I used to always buy my comics at like the Rite Aid that was right there, or Lloyd's like Cliff would do. And I remember going into the Ames Plaza, and I saw a Spider-Man symbol and a Wolverine face, and it said Stonehenge. I had no idea what it was. So when my mother would go in there and we drive by, I kept looking at it. I didn't go the first time. The second time we went in the plaza, I actually walked over there a little bit and I looked in and it was a comic book shop. And I opened the door and I remember the smell, everything. And I was like,
You made that noise and they kicked you out.
You know what I thought was cool though? Is when you buy your comics in the Rite Aid, it has the newsstand code, right?
Yes.
But when you walked into the comic shop, now they had like
Little
the
symbols
little
of
faces,
pictures and
yeah.
stuff like that. I was like, oh, they don't have these. And come to
Yeah.
find out, the newsstands are
Newsstands are actually better.
They're worth more
I
now.
did not pay attention to that when I was a kid.
Same.
I'm surprised. Yeah,
And I remember, this is what kicks me in the butt. I remember they had a stack of New Mutants 86 first cable. Like they had it up there. I remember they were promoting it. And I didn't buy it. Because I was new in the game. You know what I mean?
You can't.
I
kick
was just
yourself in
like,
the butt.
who's Cable? I don't know who
Yeah.
Cable is, blah, blah, blah. But I missed out on that. But I didn't miss out on the gold, the second print. I didn't miss out on that bad boy when it came out.
Yeah,
but
but
that's-
that's just the second print, it's not the first print.
And then, you dealt with, what were their names? George, Bart. Bart was the other guy. George was cool. Bart was a little... Bart was getting kids, man. His book would be like $40. Kid would come in and try to sell it. Ah, man, I don't think I can give you like $6 for it.
Jesus Christ.
I may be exaggerating a little bit, but
Go to hell,
it
Bart.
was very, very low ball. I just remember the conversation, like, I need to make my money back. And I was like, oh, okay. So whenever I tried to sell books, I got low ball too. But I didn't know the difference. I just wanted to get more comic books.
Yeah.
But,
Do it for the love of the game.
yeah.
Not
And
the
the
money.
books on the walls.
Yeah.
That's when I first learned about bags and boards. I was like, oh, you put them in bags and boards? Yeah. Yeah. That's my
Beautiful. It's a beautiful memory.
shout out to it's George's Fred.
His brother?
Yeah, his brother. I saw him up at Main Street Comics one time. He was like, Sam, Council Comics? He's like, you remember me? I was like, wait, you look like... He's like, I'm George's brother. I was like, yeah. So he always wanted to come on the show too, talk stuff. He's got some stuff. So when they closed out, he took mad stuff. Dang. I've never been to a comic shop when they're about to sell out. And they're just literally giving stuff away. So... that
George threw
turned it
a few boxes of Brigade #1 out in the dumpster once because he was just like, I've had it.
Number one?
Brigade number one. Because, like, that book was so worth nothing for so long. And it's like, this is just taking up space. Don't.
Those
But yeah,
good old
shout out
days.
to George and Fred.
Shout out to George. Good. Oh, let's go over to Mr. King Paul over here. Papa Paul. The analyzer.
No. I'm a outdate everybody. I'm from rural North Carolina, right? So the first time I don't even remember. All I remember the book was Magnus Robot Fighter by Ross Manning. So we had to basically travel like 55 miles to the nearest town, and that was the first book. But when I moved to Poughkeepsie, down by the library in Poughkeepsie, there's a water soldier's fountain. It's a fountain, and where the gas station is now used to be like a mom and pop store where you could go in, sit down at the counter, and they had a spinner rack. And boy, did I fiend on that. Didn't have no money, so I'm giving away what I did. I hit them, but then that was my first comic book shop, and it was like, back in my days, you had to walk to like 7-Eleven for the spinner rack, the mom and pop stores that had the soda fountains and stuff in there, the burgers and all that. They used to have the shelf in the back, the 4-layer shelf, and the comics were all down on the bottom. And that's when I got the bug then. I was in middle school by that time. And the first shop, actually, coming back to Poughkeepsie, was Iron Vic up on Raymond Avenue. And then that's when I met Anthony. He worked for Iron Vic, then he started his shop. Then I found out about Forbidden Planet down Manhattan. I did the whole island of Manhattan going to shops. Walking and the whole 9 yards. West 4th Street, Forbidden Planet, Midtown Comics, East 86th Street Comics, and all up on the West Side Comics. I mean, I was all over. But my first real one was this little mom and pop store where you used to go in and sit at the diner, have hamburger, fries, hot dogs, milkshakes, sodas. I was in third grade. Yeah, that's dating myself. That was before all y'all was even thought of. Y'all was in the air. Comic books brought you here.